All right, YouTube, welcome back to the Battle of Strasbourg vlog update number 4. So, been a long time. It's been, I think, 2 months or almost 2 months since the last one where I showed off the Roman cavalry. Since then, Traiarius has shown off his almost complete Roman contingent. I think he just has a few more figures to paint up for it. And I am still diligently working on my Romans. But in the meantime, January, February, and now we're at the second half, the second end of March, second half end of March. I have the completed Germanic division in front of you. So February and March were extremely good painting months for me. As a matter of fact, February was the best painting month I've ever had in my entire life. I painted 102 or 104 miniatures in February, and it's a short month. So I mean, I just cranked. I essentially did 2 war bands and a command in in February. So I mean, that is just phenomenal. I just cranked, and I enjoyed every minute of it. And then March, although I did not do over 100 miniatures in March, I think I did 86 or 90. So damn near as much. So also, once again, that would be a record painting month for me if it wouldn't have been for February. So March and February were just outstanding months for me. Really enjoyed painting. I got the entire Germanic division done. So that's 166 miniatures, or no, 166 or 170 miniatures in front of you is what you're looking at. So my Germanic commitment is a lot less than the Roman commitment. I think for the Romans, I have 400 at this point that I've committed to painting, and I only committed to painting 150 Germanics. I have slightly more than that right here because once I added in a 6-figure command, of course, I always say I'm going to paint 150 figures, but I always mean 150 in like units. And then, you got to have commands to go with it always. So all the miniatures in front of you are a mix of 60-40 mix of, actually, no, probably a 70-30 mix of Foundry and Gripping Beast. I know in the past I've gave Gripping Beast a pretty bad rap on a lot of their metal figures. I have yet to own a Gripping Beast plastic, and I'll probably stay away from them. But I have owned a lot of their ancient metals, and their actual branded ancient metals, so not like Polemark or anything like that. And I don't like them. They've always been kind of iffy, kind of gross to me. With that said, these Germanics and I think early Saxons and maybe some early Vikings mixed in, they're really good. They fit in great with the Foundry figures. You can't really tell them apart. So pretty happy in that respect. Like no complaints there. The figures looked great. They had some really interesting figures, with some good personality and character to them. So I'm pretty happy. But like I said, best figures I've gotten from Gripping Beast to date. So we got 3 war bands in front of you. Predominantly, the 2 war bands on your left are a mix of Gripping Beast and Foundry. The war band on the right, the Naked Guys, is all Foundry. The Archers are all Foundry, and the Command is a mix of Foundry and Gripping Beast. So, in addition to these war bands, like I said, I finished the Roman cavalry around the first or second week of January. I plowed straight into these guys, got them done, literally finished flocking the very last figure like now. So they are complete. And, so reality, I mean, I haven't even 2 months. It took me 2 months to paint all of this. So pretty happy. Most people would consider this an army. It's not really an army in my book. For this to be an army in my book, I would want to add at least 1 more warband, preferably 2, 24 cavalry figures, and then another unit of skirmishers. So, 300 figures in total. but not bad. So if essentially double this, and then I would be happy calling this an army. So, but this is my contingent. In addition to this, in March, in addition to doing one of the war bands, I also got 36 Roman archers completed. So that's really good. That's most of the archers for my large division of Romans. I need 48 in total, and I got 36 of the 48. At this point, we're just waiting on my Aventine order to come in. That's where the other archers are. So, but that is for a different video. We will do a separate vlog or painting update to show off the second Roman division. I've already showed off the first Roman division. I showed off my cavalry contingent. This is the Germanic contingent, and then I will show off the second Roman division, the opus, the creme de la creme of just fine Aventine and A&A miniatures that are all going to coalesce into a beautiful 200-man Roman division. It'll be glorious. It'll be a glorious sight. Everybody will rejoice. Angels will sing. The sun will come through the clouds. It'll be a magical thing. I'm really, really excited for the project. This might be one of, I haven't been able to really find it definitively, but as terms of 28 millimeter games, this might be one of the largest, if not the largest at Historicon. We're going to have 1,500 miniatures on the table. So not a small game by any means. I know in the UK, I know there's probably guys like Yorkshire, he's like laughing his ass off. He's like, haha, 1,500 peasants. We do 2,000 when we do salute or whatever conventions they do over there. But that's a lot for us, and all of them are painted by us. We got 3 guys painting. Obviously, most of you guys have seen Triarius. Triarius is probably doing like 60%, and I'm probably doing like 30%. And then we got another guy chipping in about 200 of the Germanics. So all of them are hand painted by us. None of this is being commissioned out. Every single figure that will be on this table was painted by one of 3 guys that will be running the game. So pretty stoked, pretty happy with it. This game is going to be really special. At this point, we're looking at 800 to 1,000 barbarians on the table and 500 to 600 Romans on the table. So, just a massive beast of a project to do. So, without further ado, I'll pause and we'll go in for the close-ups. Okay, I won't show off the archers. The archers are the same. They're just the two 8-man packs that you can get from Foundry. So they're repeats. Half of them are repeats, but they're nice. They're nice. They're a nice archer. They're nice figures. Very nicely sculpted. These Germanic, and Triarius had told me this when I bought them. He said, "You're gonna love them. They are amazing looking figures," and they are. Like the Foundry Germanic line is just out of this world good. So this is the first warband I painted, and like I said, this warband is a 70-30 mix of Foundry and Gripping Beast. Gripping Beast. There is probably about, out of the 48, each one of these warbands is 48 miniatures on 80 millimeter squares. 8 figures per square. Yeah, there's probably about 8 to 10 Gripping Beast guys in this warband. All the shield transfers that you see are from Little Big Man Studios. I did paint 25% of the shields myself. So I did paint some of the shields, mostly the Gripping Beast shields. I just didn't have transfers for them, didn't want to wait for them, so I was like, let's just do it. We'll do some simple patterns on them. So yeah, not every figure has shields, most do. Now I will say the Germanic line from Foundry is a little bit more orientated towards the early Imperial period. So they're really probably supposed to be used for the Teutoburg forest type era there. So probably 100 BC to 200 AD. With that being said, I'm okay using them at a battle that was in the 350s because technology did not change, equipment did not change. Most of these guys fought with hand weapons and shields, no armor. But some of the figures do have Roman type chainmail and Roman type helmets, captured, quote unquote captured equipment on them. So I will show off every single stand because I absolutely love these. All the skin was actually done with contrast. So as you can see here. And then I went back and did highlights over the contrast. So some of the pants, some of the clothing was done with contrast, most was not. So I did do some patterns on the clothing, and it is a mix of hand weapons and shields, guys. You got clubs, you got axes, single hand axes, two-handed axes, spears, javelins, you name it, they're in here. All different types of shields, wicker shields, square shields, trapezial shields, round shields. And you can see here, this one actually does have, this one is about 50-50 on the Foundry gripping beast mixture. So you can usually tell the gripping beast ones, most of the gripping beast figures have the hand painted shields. So, 5 of these guys have hand painted shields. I try to do a chieftain figure on each stand, kind of look like a local tribal chieftain. And you can see here, most of the time I make him look like Grandpa, and I'd use a richer looking figure. So he gets a cloak with some designs on it, and he gets his gray hair because he's an old man. This one, I made a younger man be the tribal leader there. And then this is the overall command. So he gets this stand will get the standard bearer on him. So a horse, of course, used throughout almost every ancient culture and all of art and iconography. But yeah, you can see just the variety of the shields on this one. This one is actually going to be all Foundry, I believe. So you can see there, you got big old Hoss back there with his double-handed axe, no shield. Been doing the testosterone and HGH clearly. Hitting the gym. And then you got these guys. These guys are also all Foundry. I mean, guys, these figures, they were such a joy to paint. I'm glad I spent the money on getting the really nice metal figures, both Gripping Beast and Foundry. And you can see here, Grandpa right there. He's the tribal leader for this group. You can usually tell the tribal leaders on the groups because, like I said, they're old and they usually have cloaks or helmets. This is the other tribal leader for this group. He got the pink magenta tunic. That's another Gripping Beast guy right there. I liked him. He's like doing a lunge thrusting pose right there. Everybody, and then this guy is also a Gripping Beast guy. So sprinkled in as needed. Some units had more than others. The skin, like I said, was all done with contrast or speed paint. So Gilliman Flesh, I think, is the contrast color. And then I use Crusader skin, just a mix of 50-50 or 60-40 mix. I still think I like after using a bunch of speed paints, contrast paints, and express colors, because I now have about 20 to 30 express colors. I think I like the contrast the most still. They just seem to just have the best effect, to be honest. And then here is this stand. This guy has Roman style chainmail. This guy right here, that is another Gripping Beast figure that was great. You can see there, that's not shit on his shield. That's just the Vallejo mud, or AK Interactive mud product that I accidentally smeared on it. I left it on because I was like, they're going to get mud on their shields, right? So typically when I'm doing the Vallejo or AK mud product and it gets on like their pants or their skin or their shields, I leave it on there because I'm like, that would happen in real life. So yeah, that's these guys right there. Really love the dude with the severed head. Thought he turned out great. And of course we still got Grandpa there, but a mix of hand weapons. So that is the first warband, and I'm going to show off every single one of them in excruciating details. So we'll pause and we'll do the second warband in the command. Okay, so this is the second warband in the command. Now, I did make a little lie. There is actually a third manufacturer in here to the tune of a single figure, and that is on the command base. The actual general himself here is a footsore miniature. That is the only one in the whole army, though. Yep, the guy with his hand holding the hand up, that is a footsore goth. So the two figures, the religious man and the dog handler and the dog, those are both gripping beast. Great figures. They might be from their Viking line. And then behind them are the foundry contributions there. So we got two standard bearers, the tree with the erection. Yes, I have to show it off. Yep, there he is. Giant big old boner there. And then a horse standard. And then you got his shield attendant, which is I painted up to be like a young man, so a beardless youth holding his shield. And then in the back there, if you can see, there's a bunch of heads on spikes. So pretty cool. Yeah, these all painted up really good. Didn't really use contrast paints on anything minus the dog. The dog got contrast paints and a dry brush. Everything else was traditionally painted on these guys. Okay, so this middle warband is actually my favorite. And this one is a straight 50-50 mix of Gripping Beast and Foundry. Absolutely, once again, a combination of hand-painted shields and transfers, about a 75-25 mix of painted to shield transfers there. But I will go off and show these ones. I also did a war leader at the front of every base, kind of like I did with the other one. Get right into it. Same mixture of weapons, a little bit of everything. As you can see here, here's another dude who does even more HGH and steroids. There he is in all of his glory. Just flexing hard on the Romans and all of his bodybuilding friends back there with their weapons. Yeah, just great, man. Just love the way these guys turned out. Same method on the skin there. And then behind them, I also like this one. It's a little bit different. There's the middle-aged man there with his pot belly. He's the tribal leader for this group, so I liked him too. And oh yeah, this guy turned out really good too. I think he was a Viking from Gripping Beast with the wolf's pelt there, but really liked the way he turned out. Another great figure that just added some character to this war band. This is the central command base here. They got two standards because I did order a command from Gripping Beast. So that command figure, one of these command figures is actually from Gripping Beast. The horn guy is also a Gripping Beast guy. And then I think this guy too with the shield pattern there is also a Gripping Beast. Once again, though, this guy is also in Roman mail with his scutum type shield there and his gray hair. So, and I bought for this army, I bought the entire Foundry Germanic line to include the cavalry. I will not be painting the cavalry for this set, but I did buy another unit, or I bought 24 cavalry figures for this because I would eventually like to finish out the army. And then I also have another 48-man war band of like armored nobles. So guys that are going to have helmets and chainmail on. And if I get done with the Romans early and I have time to paint another unit, I will paint those guys. So that would bring the total to 200 for the Germanics. But that is only if I have time. And those guys are all Gripping Beast. But yeah, I really like these guys. Just such great poses and character in them. All of the figures. The standing upright spear guys in this stand are also Gripping Beast. Just awesome. Oh, this one's one of my favorites too. I know I've said like I've had so many favorites. I showed this one off to my buddy when he came over, and he was like, "That's like the old salty guy there, shaking his fist at the Romans. You took our gerbs from South Park. Like, I got a kick when he said that. So yeah, he turned out really good too. And then the last stand here, not as characterful as the other ones. The war leader is the one in the middle there, the redhead, the soulless ginger. But still pretty cool. So we're getting to the end of the army. This one is actually my absolute favorite war band of the group, but we still have one more. Okay, depending on how you feel, I personally like the last war band as my favorite. These guys are also really cool. These are all naked Fanatic guys. These are all Foundry. They come from the Germanic line, and I think 15 come from the Viking line. So there's actually some females in there. There's 5 or 6 females, and then some double hand axe Vikings in there too that were naked. Because I was like, you know what? They have double handed axes, and they got beards. They have their wieners out. They fit the bill. Let's grab them. So I'll go through and share. There's not a lot of women. I put women in here in case you guys aren't, attuned to ancient history. Several Roman authors mention this in their writings. Women fought in Germanic war bands. The German tribes were known for having women fight against the Romans. So I don't think this would be any different. Now, obviously, you're not going to see thousands of women making up independent units or fighting forces in these tribal armies. But I think having just a few sprinkled in with a warband is completely acceptable. And that's what I've done here. Literally 5 or 6 out of the entire 48-man group here. So these shields are all Little Big Man Studio transfers, minus the wicker ones. So you can see here, one woman on this one. The women's scopes I really like them, unfortunately, and this is just, as you can see, it looks like she has water balloons for tits, which is unfortunate. I get it. I guess it can be kind of hard to sculpt breast, but that's my only critique, is that the breasts are all just like giant double D water balloon like breast implants. I would have liked to see some variation in the breast, because women are different like men. Like, a lot of the male figures have different musculatures on these figures, sculpted very tastefully, and the women are just like giant double D tits. So yeah, would have been nice. She got a big old bubble butt though. She hits the squat rack. But yeah, like I said, most of these guys, they're all naked. Not all of them have their wieners hanging out. Like, that guy's barely covered. But the vast majority have their balls hanging out. So just kind of how it is. And it's, once again, same mixture of weapons. There's no clubs in these guys, I believe. They're all swords, axes, spears, or javelins. But other than the clubs, mix of weapons. So yeah, you can see here just a variety of good dynamic poses. The Foundry figures, you have to put the weapons in a lot of their hands, and they only come with the wire spears. I have chose to buy, like, this is this ginger right here. That is a Foundry figure. He did not come with that sword. I glued that into his hand. So I bought some cast weapons from Gripping Beast, oddly enough, both axes and swords, and I have put them. This guy right here with the blue shield, he was supposed to have a javelin, a cast javelin, or I'm sorry, a wire spear javelin. I gave him an axe, a single-handed axe instead, just because I wanted the variation. I was reading something about, and as you can see here, I'm trying to show the female there. There she is. She's a blonde, once again, double D titties, but really cool cloak. So I tried to vary up the weapons, and I put a little bit more axes in because I was reading something that starting in the 2nd century AD, archaeologists have been finding way more axes in the archaeological record, both in grave goods and just like in general. So I wanted to make sure axes were in there. Obviously, the Franks were known for using their single-handed throwing axes, But I think double-handed axes would have been good. I kind of have her kind of being like the showpiece of this one. Little fancy. She has lots of jewelry. Once again, blonde. I kind of made her into like the Valley girl there. She has like a lot of pink on. But yeah, that's her old man right there. I'm just kidding. I just made that up. But more or less the same. Bunch of dudes with wieners out, various weapons. One of the stands, there's 6 stands per warband, and one does not have a female in it. This is that one right here. Just a bunch of naked dudes on this one. Sausage fest, as we would say in America. Big old sausage fest. But yeah, and I think the Foundry guys, they were really done tastefully. Like there's a wide selection of body types here. You got super jack guys, you got average guys, you got some chubby guys. Like there's a little bit of everything. This base, I actually painted this one in the guise of my wife. My wife's a brunette, so I call her my wife's name right there. But she's not really naked. Her boobies are just covered. But I liked her because she had an axe and she has a dagger. I don't know if you can see a dagger and a sword there in its scabbards. And I actually evolved on this warband. On the previous warband, I forgot that these things are going to have to go into foam cases to travel across country with. And I had spears overhanging on some of the bases by like half an inch. And like, obviously, even I'm going to use battle foam to custom make me some travel solutions. But, you know, if you have overhanging cast weapons, they're going to bend and or break. So I'll deal with it as I deal with it. But with this warband, I made sure all the spear figures weren't overhanging. So I put them in the middle and the back. This is the last figure. She was actually a like Norse mythological figure, and she had big old wings on this helmet, and I cut them off. I just cut them off and filed it down to make it just look like a helmet. Once again, like I said, giant airbags there for breast, but I like this guy too. The redhead guy is from the Viking set there. Pretty cool. He has the cloak. But yeah, I just had a mix of everything, and really happy with the way they all turned out. There's honestly nothing I would do different on the painting or the collecting. I'm really glad I spent the money and just got the really nice premium figures. Can't really do that with the Romans. The Romans, I have to have so many Romans and so many different kinds. The Romans are going to be like every other army I have, a hodgepodge. But these Germans, as far as like the miniatures themselves, they are probably going to be the nicest army I have, just because they're all going to be Foundry and like the really nice gripping beast stuff, not the poo-poo gripping beast stuff, but the nice ones. And yeah, they're just really nice looking. They were a joy to paint. You know, and I am 100%, I will always buy the best miniature that I can. Sometimes when you're doing a project, you don't have a lot to choose from, but regardless, I will buy the best miniature that I can because it just makes painting enjoyable. And then the end product you're always happy with. So long-winded video, guys. That is the vlog number 3. I don't blame anybody who didn't stick around for the full 30 minutes here. We only have 1 or 2 more vlogs. I might do another vlog video showing off the 3rd Roman division, and then maybe my buddy's Barbarian Horde combined with mine or separate, just so you can guys get like kind of a good sense of what we're talking about here. As far as what's left to paint, I have 165 or 164 Romans left to paint. I've already started on the 2nd division. We got 36 archers complete. And now we got to do the rest of the archers and then all of the infantry for it. So, and it is going to be a mix of A&A, Aventine, and Vitrix. So the archers are going to be predominantly Vitrix, and then everything else is going to be A&A and Aventine. So I feel like the end result's going to be really good on those. So you probably won't hear anything for a couple more months, but in a couple more months, you know, you guys should see another update, and I'm sure Triarius is going to do another update showcasing his Germanics, because he's already showed his Romans. So good timing on the video. You know, he got to show his Romans, and I'm sure in the Germanics here. But we're over halfway done on the project, guys. We only got, you know, 30% left on my end. So we're cranking. We just got to keep cranking. I caught back up, but I got to be diligent because the last week of April and the first week of May, I'm going to be in Spain for vacation. So I will not paint for 2 weeks. Now I have caught up. I even have extra time now built in, but the time that I do have, I got to get done. So, you know, the month, if I could get another 12 to 24 figures done in March, that would like put me way ahead. But at the very least, I got to do another 60 figures in April, and then 50 and 50 in May and June, respectively. So, and then that could possibly leave 2 weeks in July to get another unit painted. So that could be really excited. So that means I could be bringing close to 600 figures myself. So definitely, I think I would be over the 500 point at that mark, or 500 mark at that point. Sorry, long-winded video. Thanks for watching. Leave all comments and questions below. I usually respond to everything. So eventually. So thanks for watching, guys. Until next time.